Whatever.
Hi Playmates, how are you? It's Aristar here. As Exos Heroes progresses and there's all these kind of changes, they're also doing some balance changes. And recently, these three lovely ladies, Jinai, Naomi, and Anastasia, had some changes to their skills. So today I wanted to kind of quickly go over these skill changes for these three lovely ladies and to see if they actually made them better or worse than before. So starting off with the amazing Jinai, the Queen of Estra's Republic, she had two skill changes that are affecting her recently with the recent update. The first one being on her passive skill, where now she increases damage over time effects, poison, bleed, and burn the enemy receives by 50%. She also got a juice to her second skill, in which now it also has a 60% chance to afflict target with the poison to deal 62% damage every turn for 4 turns. Now, as we know, Jinai has always been like the damage over time queen when it comes to all of her skills and things like that. Exos Heroes in general does have a lot of status effects, but damage over time hasn't been like a huge affecting factor in a lot of the team builds. The damage over time effects used to be really useful when breaking Guardian Stones before when they were elemental, but now that they're based on positions, you don't really see a lot of teams that are built over damage over time. So while these changes to her skills, like to inflict the poison, an additional poison damage in addition to the silence for an AoE attack, and also her special to increase damage over time affects poison, bleed, burn the enemy sees by 50%, is awesome overall in theory. I don't think this is going to be enough to kind of revive the Estra's Republic team or to kind of turn players into creating damage over time build teams either. So it looks like Jinai might just have to sit on the bench a little bit while longer until we can see a little bit more benefits with the damage over time effects that could afflict parties. Especially now because you could build, a resistance against damage over time effects in the first place. Next, we have Naomi, and I'm actually glad that they're giving her a little bit of attention because she's such a cool hero, but, she's definitely not used that often or hasn't been. But this recent change to her passive skill I think is perfect. It went from increasing own effect resistance by 15% at the start of round, to stack up to 2 times, to granting a barrier equal to 50% of its own defense to self and all back row allies for 8 turns at the start of round, 1 time per 2 rounds. And when an enemy performs an area attack, grant shared health to all back row heroes before the attack hits to transfer 20% of the damage received to self for 2 turns. Not to mention her other skill that went from cleansing all debuffs from self and granting immunity for self for 5 turns, to cleansing the debuffs, granting tranquility to self from protect from death for 1 time, and granting immunity to self for 8 turns. So she's definitely a better defender than before. I wouldn't say she's quite on Garv's level still yet when it comes to her attacks. And not to mention that since she's kind of on the bronze level, that there's not that many heroes that you could kind of put on a team like that. But overall, having the ability to have Tranquil straight off from her skill, as well as, transferring health and share attack with the barriers, definitely makes her a solid defender now for any teams. And definitely this increase has been beneficial for Naomi, and hopefully she gets to see a little bit more action up in the front with some of the team builds. Last but not least, we have Anastasia. For Anastasia, she's become a pretty staple healer in a lot of the teams after the Season 5 update. With this new fake or rebalance, her passive has been changed from granting heal over time to self that heals for 8% of own maximum health every 4 turns upon receiving damage 1 time per 3 rounds, to granting that heal only when her own health falls below 70% or below after receiving damage 1 time per 2 rounds, and also resets own turn if there are no living allies with 50% or more health after an ally receives damage 1 time per battle, gains 3 mana if activated during round 1. So basically what this means is that she's gonna have most likely a little bit more heal to herself, whereas before she pretty much got that heal every 4 turns upon receiving damage 1 time per 3 rounds. So even if her health wasn't that low, it's still kind of activated, so you were kind of stuck to not have that heal for 3 rounds. But now it's gonna actually take into consideration her health level, so that every 2 rounds she could get that heal to herself. Not to mention, she now has a reset turn ability if there's no living allies with 50% more health, and at 1 time within the battle gains 3 mana. So basically what this means is this, usually when you put Anastasia on a team, you probably have her in a more of a tanky build-up where you have all of your heroes on the team that are relatively slow but with higher attack or HP. And so when you're up against like these fast clean teams like the number teams, you're most likely your team has already garnered quite a lot of damage, and so Anastasia can come in and basically by them hopefully have some mana to do a heal, and then it will also reset her turn one more time so that you can also heal a second time with the game mana 3 to get a pretty much like a reset, like a clean slate after the first round has gone by with the enemy team in order for you to lay out your attack after a full recovery with Anastasia's heals. So in summary, it looks like all of the balances for the 3 heroes, Jinai, Naomi, and Anastasia this round, in theory, seem very good in terms of the upgrades. I would say that probably Naomi's and Anastasia's were the most useful. Jinai, once again, although the upgrades are definitely beneficial for the kind of hero build that she is, still don't think it's gonna make her important enough for a lot of heroes to convert to using a damage over time team build. What are your thoughts on these rebalances? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you like random gaming content, especially on mobile gacha games, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I post every Wednesday and weekends. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe and take care.